Hey folks, what's going on? It's Reggie with the Basic Black Podcast. I guess as everybody, I'm sorry, getting the studio together and doing all this other wonderful stuff, but had to come on for a second. Had to come on and talk about what just occurred in Utah. The the right winger, the right wing radical, Turning Point USA, just general Trump loyalist to the bitter end, Charlie Kirk was shot in Utah about an hour ago. Now, what? Let me give you my perspective from it being from a brother, from a black man, from a person who is living in this climate, being black. Okay, so I'm gonna say it like this, and this is my perspective. I see a lot of people saying that, pray for Charlie Kirk and prayers for him and his family. Now, I'm a Christian, and it at times it really tests who I am when things like this happen. We've unfortunately had to endure a lot of things. And especially now in the media where things are becoming heavily charged, highly racial, and we have to figure out where do we stand along that line. Now, for those who haven't watched it or seen the video, I will caution you. I'm not going to show it, but I'm going to caution you. It's pretty violent. Yeah, it did. It shocked myself and my wife when we saw it. Am I a fan of Charlie Kirk? No, I am not a fan of Charlie Kirk. But I'm also not a fan of hurting somebody because you don't agree with them. But I do also understand the general frustration that people have right now in this climate because it feels like common sense has left the building. Everything that's occurred with the Trump administration has just became some huge, 130-day cluster F. Now, I want people to keep in mind, he was shot in Utah. Utah is a very red state. Now, while the Republicans and Trump and the MAGAs and whatnot, while they are wasting efforts by deploying the National Guard previously to California. Now they had them in DC, and now they're saying Chicago. It's interesting that when you focus on something that's not really the concern and you do it merely for optics, you give way to things like this happening. And when I think about this, I go back to listening to J.D. Vance speak. And they were speaking about school shootings. They were speaking about gun violence and whatnot. Keep in mind that from the number of school shootings that we have had over the last 10, 15 plus years or so, that you never or rarely received any response from the National Rifle Association. Nothing condemning the action. There's no push by Republicans to say we're going to work on gun rights and we're going to do this, that, and other. It just doesn't happen. It's like J.D. Vance said, and I'm sorry, I lost my chain of thought for a second. It's like J.D. Vance said, it's a sign of the times. And I just don't think he knew how poignant of a phrase that is. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, what do you say? I know that Charlie Kirk has spewed a lot of venom and vitriol and has been probably one of the nastiest figures who's ran the gamut of being racist, sexist, a misogynist. I mean, he doesn't like LGBTQ. He does, it's a lot of things. And if this is his point, that he's allowed to have it. But it kind of falls into that whole situation where living and dying by a sword has its consequences. I don't condone the shooting whatsoever. But I know, as looking from my perspective, that I think that we knew it was coming. We knew that this wasn't no secret. We knew it was coming. Matter of fact, it's been long overdue. You look at the media, you look at that incident in North Carolina where they're not trying to make it sound racial, but they really are. When you change the value of life to where it's no longer equal, things happen. And if you're not familiar, in North Carolina, there was a Ukrainian migrant who was living in North Carolina, and she was on public transportation, and there was an assailant, an African American male, who attacked her and killed her, unalived her. So what I find interesting in what I hear now, you get all the points, all these monsters and this, that, and other. I mean, come on. Trump a couple of days ago basically called young black men in general, that we're basically just, criminals in the making, criminals in the waiting. And you expect things to go different. I don't. You sit back and you look at these things, and we have to figure out, where is the break? We have to also understand, going into this political cycle with Biden leaving office and Trump taking over, it was going to happen. And I'm not even talking about the little stage shooting that Trump had, because I think people, if you view this video, you will see what a shooting is. He was hit probably on the left side of his neck. Looks like jugular, possibly, from the amount of blood that it showed just in one split second. This is not. There's nothing saying that Charlie Kirk is deceased of this recording. I might be wrong when I get off of it, but it truly is a sign of our times. We have been put to a point to where we're being racially pitted against each other. And the thing that's really amazing that I'm looking at now really has to do with how the right has immediately jumped in, and Democrats are so violent, and Democrats are doing this, that, and the other. We don't even know if this gentleman who shot Mr. Kirk is a Democrat. Like I said, he was in it was pretty much a very pro Charlie Kirk rally. This rally wasn't in Atlanta. This rally wasn't in DC. This rally wasn't in Chicago or any state, any city that has a majority Black population. It was in Utah, at a college in Utah. So he was speaking to a very Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA sympathetic crowd. But of course, there's always, it only takes one bad actor to change how an event plays out. I'm going to have to truly challenge myself to make sure that I can hang on to the better part of being a Christian when looking at situations like this. As an African-American male, as a Black man, I have felt that we have been under fire for so many years. And regardless of what happens, oh, it's Black people. Oh, it's the usual suspects and everything else that goes along with it. Am I saying that it's right? Am I saying that it's wrong? No. What I'm saying is, it truly is a sign of the times. And we have to really embrace the fact that if there's no real change coming, why do you expect situations like this to be different? And I can tell you now, and this is going to be very telling. Don't expect people to be sympathetic and how this plays out. People who have different viewpoints against Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA, i.e., me being one. I remember years ago, my youngest son went to a church, Cornerstone Church in Chandler, Arizona. And this is when I'm going through my divorce. So my youngest son is reaching out to me, and he was like, he sent me a text message. I shouldn't be here. I'm like, what are you talking about? There's this guy talking, and he's talking really reckless. And I forgot, maybe that wasn't the exact word, but he starts telling me about Turning Point USA. And this was being held at a predominantly white church. And they had this, and it's for their kids' day. So they had drop off your kids, get a pizza, and we're going to entertain you. So people trusting the church do that. And either knowing or not, Charlie Kirk spoke that evening. And I was pretty much so pissed, reached out to his mother, and there was no concern on her part, which is fine because I didn't expect anything. But this indoctrination that they have tried over these years is no secret. So prepare to hear the media spin this to no end. That they're going to sit back and they're going to say, well, it's the Democrats. Well, it's this, that, and other. And you know it. And they're going to try to play this. I guess, if anything, this is a huge distraction, again, for Trump and the Epstein files. I hope they keep pursuing those. I hope that we can come to some understanding without it always resorting to violence. Am I hopeful of that? Not really, because the calendars have shown us year after year after year, it doesn't happen. Unfortunately, for change to happen, an action has to occur. And this is an action. This is clearly someone saying, I'm not okay with this. I'm not going to stand for this. And this. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to keep spewing on. Please be cautious when watching the media, because you know it's going to be spun 20 different ways. Even though the shooter looks like he was a Caucasian male, it doesn't mean that being a black man is going to be any easier. Because when they confirm it's not a black man, it's going to go to the party. It's going to be the Democrats and liberals and everything else is going to be the blaming. It's going to be the blame. So just get ready for it. Anyway, folks, this is totally impromptu. No pretty studio lighting, new 3D printer in the background and whatnot. But I felt like I had to come on and say something. So like, subscribe, and share. If you are new, definitely please thumbs up and subscribe to the Basic Black Podcast. And there's more content on different topics, and I appreciate you. So for a better time with more editing and whatnot, I say have a great day and talk to you later. Goodbye.